thing in the middle of the screen that says, "Oh, you're live." There we go, folks. A very warm welcome to you. This is your usual Wednesday night offering of Mauls, balls, and all. We normally try to get to you all every Wednesday from live at 8:30. Doesn't always work out like that, but you know we've made an effort this evening to come to you on time at 8:30. You're all very welcome. Joining me this evening are two familiar faces. We are still waiting on one more. Dave Trigger Weston, or Dara Weston, or Dale Weston, or whatever the hell you want to call him. We just like to call him late at this point in time. But joining me at the moment is Richard Holland, who you all know from the show, and of course you all know Mike Reedy, our man in Glasgow. Gentlemen, how the hell are you? Are you all well in yourself?
All good in yourselves, Pete. Thank yourself.
Yeah, great, bud, great.
Good. Yeah, I'm all right, Jared. Thanks for asking. I'm as last week. I'm still down in Gorey, which I love it down here. Christopher Goff, how are you? Christopher joins us as well. How are you doing, Christopher? Good to see you. Good to have you with us, Christopher. Right, gentlemen. Let me just start with, and this is really just it's an information chat, and if Christopher, maybe because you're watching, maybe you might join in on this particular one. The nations, excuse me. Oh, hold on. Who do we have here? It is. Oh, it's Dave. Jesus Christ, Dara. Very nice of you to join us. Thanks very much.
Yeah, sorry. The computer, Windows updates and all that. Don't blame me. Blame Bill Gates.
Have you tried hitting with a hammer?
Oh, who Bill Gates?
It's going to be my next step.
Or you could try turn it off and turn it back on again, but you probably had to do that with the updates and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, Dara, welcome. Good to have you with us. I was just going to ask, sorry, Dara, how are you? Are you well, aside from your updates?
Bit of a sniffly nose, but apart from that, I'm grand.
Good man. Okay. Any cigars happening tonight, Dara? Will you be lighting up
there might be. We'll see.
Geez, all right, very good. Okay. Anyway, folks, what I was going to start with Richard. It's just a by, just of general interest, and if people are watching, maybe they might want to share theirs as well. We see that the games, the Autumn Internationals, the 4 games, which I don't have, I can't remember what. I know they're Australia, Fiji, New Zealand, I think it's Argentina as well. But they're all being shown on regular TV, Virgin, TNT, well, regular as you can get, and Disney Plus. Out of interest, Richard, how many subscriptions are you paying for? Now, the reason I'm asking you all is because I saw some guy on Twitter. He calculated the total cost in the UK now, not here, that if you wanted to watch every single rugby game, now I know it's an impossibility, you would have to pay, I think it was 130 or 160 sterling a month, which is just bananas. Richard, just out of interest, just for shooting the breeze, what do you subscribe to on now? Leave out the porn stuff, but if you're watching rugby, what rugby channels do you get?
Well, I have Now TV. That's the way we decided to go with it. So, I have the sports and the sports plus package. So it's coming up on 90 or 95 euros a month, I suppose. Now, what I do is every 6 months I go to cancel it and they give it for me for half price. That's the way I go about it.
Good idea.
I think that's hold on a second now. Sorry, hold on one sec, Richard. Gregor Galway, I have zero idea how many subscriptions my family does, to be honest. Okay, that's fair enough. Thanks, Gregor. So, Richard, you have what, two subscriptions that cost 90?
Yeah, it would be the sports and the sports plus.
Is that with Sky or now?
It's now with Sky, but they own.
Oh, I guess
Sky own now,
right.
so yeah.
Okay, all right. Mike Reedy, what do you have?
No comment.
You don't fucking know, do you?
He definitely doesn't have a dodgy box.
No.
Oh, do you? I see.
£153 per month.
For your, is that just for your sports?
Virgin. You get sports, movies, all sorts of garbage.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Dara Weston, it's just purely out of interest. I'm asking the question, just for everyone. I'll tell you what I have.
So I have Prime, but I've never been able to get any of the rugby matches on Prime because they've never broadcast them in Ireland.
Yeah.
On Prime.
Seriously?
I have no. It's only in the UK you get them.
Oh, right.
I have Sky, but I don't have Sky Sports. I have TNT. I have Premier Sports. Like Richard, there I rang Sky a couple of weeks ago, told them I was going to leave, so they gave them to me for 6 months for half price. I think, and then we've all the bloody streaming things, Netflix, all the different jokes. Netflix, Paramount, Disney, all those jokes.
Yeah, but I think we have them as well. I think I was just looking at it there. Funny enough, earlier on, if I was just adding up the sports stuff that I have, I think ours, just the sports, is I think 70 for just sports, but the add-ons then I think are billed now like you all, Dara and Richard, did the usual, rang up, we got a better deal, and they reduced it down to, so our total TV bill a month is 103 for that. Now the biggest chunk is obviously the rugby and all that. So no, I was just interested to hear. Hold on, Christopher Goff. There's a comment in here. Christopher has said he just subscribed to TNT. Used to be BT Sport, which gets me the Heineken Cup games, and BBC for the Six Nations in the UK. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, okay. Anyway, gentlemen, that was just
having TNT lost the Heineken Cup games, aren't they going to your buddy Royal Nugent and Setanta / Premier?
Yeah, Premier
Sports.
They've
Yeah,
got the Heineken season.
That comes in with Sky. That comes in on the one package though. TNT and BT are all the one. And Premier, it's all
TNT used to be BT, but then you have Premier Sports, which is another Sky package. There's Sports Extra and Sports Something.
Yeah, well, that's the one I have, and TNT and Premier come in on that in the one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Danny Brosnan, how are you, Danny? I hope you did the sharing thing as I'm talking to you. Yeah, you'll be paying to watch that stuff. You need to get in touch with the Healy Rays. Thanks, Danny. That's wonderful. Great stuff. Right, gentlemen, Dara Weston, to get back onto the more serious or current issues. We saw during the week that Irishman Felix Jones, he resigned as defence coach for the English squad. That he followed Aled Walters, the strength and conditioning coach who came to Ireland. But Felix Jones, anyway, he resigned. A lot of players were a bit shocked at the move. They enjoyed working with him, according to several articles in English newspapers that I read. It just seems the reason being that was widely reported, it's not just me saying this, it was widely reported that there was a bit of a toxic environment in the English camp perpetrated by Steve Borthwick. It smacks of Eddie Jonesism, what's going on there. Now, I don't know what's going on, but Dara, what do you think is going on? Is what I'm going to ask you. In the English camp, when you have a defence coach and a strength and conditioning coach leaving within a very particular short space of time of each other, what's going on?
And especially Felix only joined.
Yeah,
he only came in,
exactly.
didn't he, after the World Cup? So he was obviously sold a pup and told he was going into this fantastic setup, blah, blah, blah. Got there, realised it was toxic as feck. He wasn't going to get what he was promised, and then resigned. But now I see from the reports that he still has to stay on for a year and serve his notice. So I mean, he's not going to be terribly motivated to do that if they keep him, if they try and make him work his notice. Look, obviously he joined and realised that Borthwick is on a kamikaze mission. And does he want to go down with this legacy of, possibly worst English coaching ticket or whatever, and then be toxic to other coaching tickets, especially having come from, is it our South Africa world champions? Can't remember now. Maybe some people can tell us in the chat.
I don't know. I think I saw it somewhere. I think I saw it.
Yeah,
you read about it.
They don't like to talk about it. They don't like.
No.
Oh, they're very understanding.
No, which you never know.
But yeah, no, I think he's I'd say it's probably that, or else some fellow up in Scotland had a word with him about being a mercenary and that he should get back to Munster and be working with his own people and not be taking the king's shilling. So,
But Dara, is that not a huge is that not a huge red flag?
oh, definitely. Like it's a massive decision for Felix to make so early in literally just only within 3 months of moving there to turn around and go, lads, I'm going. I'm out of here. You know, you kind of, because like people kind of look at it and go, they look at your CV and go, so you only spent 3 months there, did you? And they're kind of like, you're like, oh, the problem was them, it wasn't me. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he did an awful lot of soul searching, but there must have been like zero redeeming features in that coaching setup for him to actually say, do you know what? I'll give it a year, see if they can turn things around a bit. You know, he obviously realized that it was going down quicker than the Titanic or something, and you know, he needed to get out of there.
You said going down quicker. I was going to say something there, but it was going to be rude.
Yeah, I said Titanic.
Yeah, there you go.
Watershed.
Well, that's it.
Don't
That's
mention
true.
Stormy Daniels.
Mike Reedy, this whole Felix Jones thing, as I said to Dara, widely reported, this is not me firing out untruths, but widely reported that it was a toxic environment that Borthwick has brought about. The strength and conditioning coach, what's his name again? Alan Walters, prior to him, he came to the Irish setup. Felix decided, look, this is not for me for whatever reason. And if the newspapers are to be believed, it was a bad environment, toxic environment. You're over there. Well, you're not over there. You're in Scotland, but you're closer to it than we are. What do you think, Mike, is going on there?
I'll tell you. I mean, from what I've read, Borthwick is of the opinion it's my way or the highway, basically. And I see a bigger picture here, by the way, than anybody has reported. Anyway, I see Borthwick getting a chance. He's now basically cut adrift on his own, because I heard Seinfeld or Seinfeld, the
Seinfeld, the 90s comedy show.
Kevin Seinfeld.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
He's I heard he's uneasy as well. Now, the way I see it, Borthwick he's in the last chance saloon himself. I reckon he's going to get the autumn internationals, and they're going to go fucking disastrously wrong, because he is dreadful. He is clueless, and he's gone. And here's my prediction: Felix Jones is going to be the head coach there for the Six Nations. How about that? Because he's contracted to England, and they're not letting him go, and they're not letting him go for a reason. They let the other boy go. They're not letting him go. He's the real deal. I watched that that South African documentary thing that they did prior to the World Cup, and he as far as I could see, Nienaber was saying absolutely nothing in any of the team meetings, and Felix Jones was doing all the talking, and he's well clued up, by the way. That boy is well clued up. Whoever gets him are getting a proper coach, and I think he's ready for the big step up to the head coach job.
Okay, we'll come to that in just one sec there, Mike, after I ask Richard. Richard, this whole thing, what do you think is going on in the English camp when two key coaches resign within a relatively short time of each other?
Well, the fact that Borthwick was effectively implicated in both of these guys leaving is a fairly damning thing on him. He comes across as, I don't know, he's not great in front of the media. He's
dreadful.
He comes across as a little bit ignorant, to be quite honest with you. That this is what we're doing, and we're not going to do it any other. This is what I want to do.
He's a little bit thick. He's a little bit thick.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But the thing about it is, it's is it a hangover of Eddie Jones? The culture that's in that England setup. Is there a little bit of that in it? Possibly, but Borthwick, I don't think he's intelligent enough to be a coach. I don't think he should got the England job in the first place. I don't think I'm alone in that one. But no, it's just a strange thing, and not wanting to denigrate the two guys that left, but it's rats leaving a sinking ship, isn't it? It's just they're just heading for the door in droves. I think that's another reason why Farrell has made himself unavailable. That's another. I'll be quite honest with you. I know that he cited mental health issues, but I think another reason is that he doesn't want to work under Borthwick either. So.
But that's, I mean, the I think he's a full back. Maybe someone can correct me, but George Furbank for the England squad, is he a full back or back?
Yeah, he can play full back or the wing. Yeah,
Pretty fun.
Yeah, he came out and he was quite slating of the setup in the English camp to let Felix Jones go, because Furbank enjoyed working with Felix Jones. And if you have a player, now he wasn't the only one. He's the only one I can remember off the top of my head. Like that's an indictment of the English setup. Yeah. Would you not think, Richard?
No, absolutely it is, and I think Mike touched on it. Although he resigned, I think the RFU were holding him to his contract, so technically he cannot work for anyone else.
That doesn't really mean that doesn't really matter a bollocks. To be honest.
Well, what would happen is that whoever would come in looking for him would have to pay a load of money to buy out his contract. That's effectively what that means.
Yeah.
But
okay.
However, it is what it is. So yeah, no. Look, it's English rugby is in the ship. We know that, and this is only going to make it worse.
Well, do you know what I see? The difference between before Felix Jones came in there, prior to the Six Nations, England at the last World Cup were a shambles. He has turned things around there in quite a short space of time, really. And I have to say, I think it's genuinely down to him, because he's brought the same kind of structure as South Africa had, defensive-wise. And the difference, like, between when, like, even during the course of the Six Nations was night and day. And they played all right. They should have beaten New Zealand. Let's be honest. They should have beaten them in both tests, and they didn't. Now, I honestly say, I genuinely think he's going to be the head coach by come the Six Nations. How about that? That's a prediction, please.
Yeah, all right. I said already we're coming to that. Will you stop repeating yourself? Darrow Wesson, go on.
The other thing is, there was another lad, I just looked it up there, I couldn't think of his name, Tom Tumblestone, who had been there since the Lancaster era. He was one of the senior conditioning lads. He left in August as well. So it's actually 3 of them have resigned in the space of 16 days.
Oh, well, that's really not a good sign at all, gentlemen. Okay, we'll leave that. Sorry, go on, Mike. Go on, Mike. You going to say something?
There's nobody jumping at the possibility of taking a position there either, right? I don't see any names being linked with it. There's nobody really. I honestly, I really think the writing's on the wall for Borthwick. I've got to do something drastic, and that's what they'll end up doing, because he's not cutting the mustard at all.
Okay, but I would agree, Mike, with or whoever said it. I think it was you, Mike. They should have beaten the All Blacks. Just to go back to what we initially spoke about, Ian Wallace. How are you, Ian? Good to have you with us. Ian, I subscribe to Virgin and get all rugby coverage apart from Amazon Prime included for 130 sterling, I think. Is it, Ian?
Mm-hmm.
A month as part of the package. I pay another €9 sterling, tenner a month for Amazon Prime, which gets me free delivery on purchases from Amazon.
Yeah.
Holy jeez. That's a lot of money to be watching rugby. Danny Brosnan, our Brosnan lad, our man behind the scenes, Danny Brosnan, who does a lot. Probably more issues in the English camp than they'll want to admit. Yeah, good point, Danny. Good point. Mike Sheedy. Hiya, Mike. Always good to have you with us, Mike. Mike is a great Munster fan. URC TV, only all United Rugby Championships, 60 quid for the year. Jeez, that seems like a bargain. Gregor Galway, Danny Brosnan, surely if there was a series on it, would find it. Yes, okay. Joe Lyons, evening, Joe.
Evening, Joe.
How are you?
Evening.
Jared Brennan, I saw you photographed on the Thai RFC page when you decided on your women's leadership team, Ger Brennan, Thai RFC. Fair play to you, Ger. Good to have you with us. Ger Brennan says Borthwick, like Jones before him, is threatened by more intelligent coaches and tries to restrain them so his inadequacy is not shown up. Yeah. Okay.
Good point there,
yeah. Good point, Ger.
All you have to do is look at Borthwick's nose to know the fella has had a couple of digs to the head over the years.
He has actually, yeah. He has.
They've obviously taken their toll.
They have. Gregor Galway.
He might have crossed the path of a prop.
Ooh, don't mention that to Richard.
Don't
mention that to Richard. Gregor Galway, so glad he isn't our coach. Thanks, Gregor. And Gregor, before we move on, Finn Smith, a free man too. Okay.
Oh yeah, Dave stepped away from the squad as well. Yeah.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, we touched on it there, and I kind of, well, particularly you, Mike, I kind of shut you off. So I'm going to come to you first on this, Mike. Now, you're adamant that Felix Jones is going to be the English coach for the Six Nations. I don't think he will be, to be honest with you. I really don't. Well, I think I'll let you know what I think after you answer. And give us all a reasoning why you think. Now, contracts can be gotten out of and all that. Don't worry about that. You think Felix Jones is going to be the English coach?
I would think about this, and I honestly, lads, I think the English hierarchy, unless they don't want to give him the job, because maybe he's not a yes man, and they didn't have a yes man with Eddie Jones, and I think they kind of regretted things. However, I think Felix Jones is the real deal, by the way, and he's ready for a head coach job somewhere, and I think he's going to get the England job. That's my take on it. I could be completely wrong. I might be fucking bonkers, but
I agree with half what you're saying.
Go on there.
So he definitely is ready for another job, for a head coach job, I think. But having come out publicly and resigned from the RFU, do you think the RFU are going to keep him on? And then it smacks of desperation. You know, it's like your ex saying she wants to break up with you and you're proposing to her.
Yeah.
I think it'd be too much of a kind of a public humiliation by the English to admit that they actually want him as coach, even though he was going to leave them.
I suppose that they would have gone maybe they would have gone a different way about. Who knows? Maybe they want to put all these guys could have been asked to fucking raise. Well,
you'd imagine that, you know, when he went to somebody in the RFU and said, "Listen, your man's a mentler. He's a head case. I can't work with him. I'm off ski." They would have went, "Listen, bide your time. Give us 6 months. He'll be gone. We'll put you in charge as interim, and that'll become permanent." And that'd be the time to kind of say it to him. And then he'd go, "Okay, I'll bide me time, but I'm not happy." But the fact that he just went, "Listen, lads, cheerio, I'm gone." They obviously must have said something to him.
But okay,
you know, they probably.
No, I was going to say, Dara, and so Mike thinks, right, we stick with Mike, what he thinks, right, despite your not despite, but with your argument against that. So where do you think Felix Jones is going to end up? What job? What's his next job?
Is that to me or to Mike?
No, to you, Dara.
I think the All Blacks.
In the Six Nations.
I think the All Blacks coaching ticket will be reshuffled fairly soon, and he could be a shoe-in for that. I mean, you know, and you know, a shoe-in as an assistant coach, obviously, not as the. While he's good enough to be a head coach, he doesn't have the profile to be a head coach for the All Blacks. So he'd go there as an assistant coach. You know, that'd be fairly good move. Look good on the CV. Otherwise, you know, if he waits a couple of months, the Italian job will be free again. That comes around like a bus every year or so. You know, Italy are on the ascendancy. They like young coaches. You know, Conor O'Shea went there and he only had club experience, I think, with London Irish. I don't think he'd ever done. He'd been involved in any of the international, or had he been involved in the Irish backroom?
No, he was involved with the English youth setup.
Oh, the English youth setup. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't. I don't see him staying. I don't see him getting the England job. I think the English will be too proud to have him, to offer him the job after him publicly walking away and kind of humiliating them. I don't think the RFU would take that.
And let's not forget, gentlemen, that the English, the RFU are prone to fucking up with their coaches. Look at Lancaster and Farrell, and when they left the RFU, the success that they found, you know. So, Richard, where do you think Felix Jones is going to end up?
Exactly what Dara just said. Yeah, there is an opening even in New Zealand. Didn't they fire their defense coach or one of their coaches there?
He left.
He quit.
He quit.
So there is an opening there. So I think they'll definitely come in sniffing around, and if they make an offer, I think he'll take it, because again, it's going to be great to look in your CV. Well, look, you were a coach at New Zealand, you know, when a head coach job does eventually come along.
Lads, I think you are all wrong. You're all missing a trick. The next job, in my view, like you all have your views, the next job that Felix Jones is going to have,
don't say France,
is with Andy Farrell in the lines. That's going to be his next move. Imagine that on his CV before he moves on to a head coach or something, whatever role.
Better.
Go on.
Will he even be allowed to do that?
Why wouldn't he be?
Because the RFU.
Don't, Mike. That's a load of fucking paper bollocks.
No, the RFU will need all the home nation, the organisations have released coaches 2 lines Dewey before.
There you go.
Yeah, well, Andy Farrell obviously being allowed to do that, but I don't know. I could be fucking miles off here, but I just have this.
We all could be miles off. Well, we're all just guessing. But if I was to put money on it, I'd say Felix Jones will end up on the Lions tour as a defense coach with Andy Farrell.
There is one thing. Anybody would have him in their coaching setup. Any team with ambition would have him.
Absolutely.
Genuine, by the way, the real. He's definitely. South Africa would have him back in a second.
Stop it! Will you stop it? Wash out your mouth. Stop it.
They would.
Okay.
Yeah, we could all be wrong. It could be the case that Reedy went to school with his uncle, and he'll be the one walking out of the bookies in 6 months, counting his cash.
Very true. Very true.
Now, we know the Tipperary mafia. You know the grapevine there.
Yeah.
Weston must have spilled the beans. Come on.
Hold on, we have a few comments to get through. Hold on a second here. I'm just scroll back up here. Ian Wallace, the subscription gets me Netflix, Sky Sports, Sky Music, all because I want to watch the feckin' rugby. Ian Gilbert, hi from Madrid. Hi, Ian. How are you? Good to have you with us. Who's this? Ian Wallace again. Would Mark McCall not fit into the England setup? He would actually, Ian. Yeah, folks, quick one on that. Mark McCall into the England setup. Dara Weston. I don't know. Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think so. I'd prefer to see them take Dan McFarland. See how that goes.
McFarland, Jesus Christ, fucking
that boat has sailed.
No, but as an Irishman, I'd love to see him being head coach of England. That'd be great crack.
Yeah, it would be fucking great crack. Yeah, which would be flying flags for that.
It could be for McCall. I mean, it's
Red Buses would be busy getting fucking players chucked under him every fucking week.
Well, there you go. He'd get a better job with fucking Dublin Bus or England Bus or whatever the fuck you call it over there. Richard Holland, Mark McCall, would that? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd probably work. Where do you want to leave one burning building for another burning building is another matter entirely, isn't it? It's just
there you go. That's it. Jared Brennan from a Thai RFC. Sorry, Jared. The RFU could give the job to Felix for the Six Nations, and if it goes tits up, they'll hang the failure on an Irishman. That's a very good point, Jared. ABs would buy him out of the contract. The RFU like money more than success. That is a very salient point, Jerry.
Well,
yes,
they are cash strapped. You know what? We know what.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only thing. The All Blacks don't really have the money to be buying.
That's the reason.
Contract.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Gregor Galway
are star players here, there, and everywhere.
and
so.
they're still charging the appearance fee.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's what, 3 million now instead of 1 million.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, Darren. I'd be lying if I said it was 2 or 3. I don't know.
Well,
what
you
it is.
said it had gone up from 1 million to 3 million about 2 months ago. So
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
Guardian. That was a Guardian
okay.
expose, but I don't know. I
he's
can't.
also old. He's old and senile. You'll have to give him a chance.
Well, there you go. That's it. Yes, I was born in 1971, so shut the fuck up, the lot of you. Now go away from me. Stop annoying me.
Well, he
I-
no,
I'm
he's
old-
not. It's
I-
just
I'm
he
old
doesn't wear his
enough.
reading glasses, so he can't often see what's on the screen.
I'm old enough now not to care what people think, which I duly do. Gregor, go away. Andy
You
Farrell
know
will get
that
him
from your
involved.
choice in headwear.
But there you go. That's it, Jess. Andy Farrell will get involved. I presume that's the lines you're talking about, Gregor. Christopher
I'd love
Goff.
him.
Good call on that, Peter. Thank you, Christopher. Christopher agrees with me. Joe Lyons. Hi, Joe. I bet Felix's employment contract had a defined and clear description of what he was and the scope of impetus of that. So this will all play out in a compromise. Yes, totally agree, Joe. There is obviously some issue with the management style, and if those leaving are anything to go by, then it points to only one person, Steve Borthwick. Yes. Our old pal and admin partner and friend and colleague, Peter Martin. How are you, Pete? Mark McCall has probably turned down England like plenty others. Yes.
I would say so too.
I would say so, Pete. Yeah. Peter Martin, hope training went well for you. Now, moving on from all that, we have another person who is moving on to a new job, which is David Nucifora, who is moving to Scotland as their talent development manager, or whatever the fuck you want to call it now. Talent development manager for Scotland. That whole sentence is an oxymoron, if you ask me.
Is he going to be based in Scotland or is he going to be based in South Africa?
I haven't a fucking clue where he could
Because
be
all the
based.
Scottish talent is coming from South Africa. So look at me.
He could be based in a fucking public toilet, Dara Weston, for all I fucking know. I don't know, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know, talent development officer for Scotland. Holy fucking Jesus! What talent do Scotland? Anyway,
it's a made up title if ever I heard one.
oh fucking right, it is. Like I'm head of fucking ice cream production for Dunleary County Council. There you go. That's as made up as it is. Richard Holland, Nucifora. Now, before I go on to this, Claire Devney rang me earlier today to mention that her son said to her that Nucifora is on full-time wages, but a part-time contract or part-time hours or whatever. I don't know the truth in that or whatever. But anyway, keep that in the back of your head. Nucifora to Scotland. He's 2 years, which in fact to develop talent within a nation, let alone a club within a nation, is probably a 6 or 7 year project. It's not a 2 year project. Minimum, yeah. It's not like what the fuck is what's Nucifora doing, or what is the Scottish angle on this?
Is he staying with us? He's some role with Australia as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's relieving that in November. He's coming to Scotland in November, which is a couple of months away.
That begs the question of how much of a shit show is Australian rugby in behind the scenes. If he's there, is he even there 6 months since they announced him and now he's fucking gone? That should tell you something. But yeah, this player development, yeah, it takes Conor O'Shea, to be fair, when he had the Italian job, he took over grassroots as well to build up the game, to build up in particular the youth setup. And to be fair, there are players now coming through with Italy. It's 8-9 years ago since Conor O'Shea was there. That'll tell you how long it takes for the likes of a group of players coming through from even under 16s to senior. It's 5-6 years. You're going to get drop off. You're going to get lads that won't make it. And if you get 6 or 7 players out of a panel of 30, you're doing well. So this 2 year thing is never going to work.
Yeah. And there's a point there about Joe Lyons. He's, as you said, Richard, he's also got the Aussie gig too, for fuck's sake. You know, so
it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. All right, Richard. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for that, Richard. Mike Reedy, this a 2 year gig to develop Scotland.
I think this is
Scottish talent.
a knee-jerk movement by Scotland. They listen. Make no mistake about it. The Irish business model and the Irish, the way the IRFU run the organisation, is the envy of the rugby world currently, without any shadow of a doubt. And the way, I mean, Scotland is in a very dodgy situation. They only have two clubs. They only got two clubs to pick players from, and rugby in Scotland is regarded as egg chasing, by and large. It's popular in the border areas and in Edinburgh, but Glasgow, it's just two scummy football teams, and everybody else is picking up the scraps. So it's a very difficult proposition for anybody. But 2 years, I have no idea what he's supposed to do anyway, because nobody's interested in playing rugby here. There's no schools. There's no rugby in any schools. There's nothing like that. It's a very, very difficult kind of a proposition anyway. So I think I have no idea what their game is. I genuinely think that they've saw what he's the state of Irish rugby, and they think, Jesus, we want some of that. By the way, they might be under the impression he's the guy that's made it happen, which is probably not the case. Which is definitely not the case. We all know that. I don't think he's taken away from the Irish game, apart from our women's. He's definitely contributed to taking away from the women's sport, the women's game in Ireland. So I really, it's mind-boggling, to be honest with you, mind-boggling. But you know something, I live here and I hope it works out for him, because
I was just going to say that, Mike. I was just going to say that you're living in Glasgow.
I'd just like to see rugby being a genuinely appreciated sport here, you know, and it's not. I know it's not. I struggle to find people to talk to about. I mean, that's why I love being on this show every week so much, because I get to talk to people about rugby and find somebody here. And most of the people that I find in Scotland that are interested in rugby are not from Scotland. They're not Scottish. So
are they mercenaries?
No, they don't play rugby now. So maybe they're mercenaries. Yeah, maybe I'm a fucking.
Well, come here, Mike. Okay, and aside, one of these tangents are, well, not so much rabbit holes on this one, but a tangent that we always sometimes go off on this show. If it was a Six Nations weekend, and Scotland were playing Wales or us or England or whatever, and you went into a pub for a pint to watch the game, would the game be automatically on in a pub in Glasgow, or would you have to ask them to put the game on?
Absolutely not. It wouldn't be on.
It wouldn't be on.
Unless you went in. There isn't any rugby pubs in Glasgow. There's none.
So if Ireland were playing Scotland, you'll
find an Irish pub. That's where you'll find it. If you want to watch, and if Celtic are playing or Rangers are playing, whatever, that will have first priority every week, everywhere. It's as simple as that. Even you go to Dundee and Aberdeen, there's people that support those two. I just call them. I can't be doing them either. And that's on my life.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Dara Weston, this idea.
And if you go to a pub in Edinburgh when there's a game on in Murrayfield, the game will be on, and there'll be all Scottish fans sitting there counting the money that they've sold their tickets for, the profit they've made. No, I'm joking. So I think we're forgetting one important thing with Nucifora going over there, that the Scottish have the potential to go on about winning the URC in the same way that the South Africans did for a year. So that's the first year of his contract, is basically going around all the schools and clubs talking about how we won the URC. With wasn't it the Glasgow Warriors?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how great Scottish rugby is and the future and all that. So that'll keep them going for the first couple of months anyway. But then, as Mike says, trying to put structures in place. I mean, it's Scottish rugby. It's going through tough times, and look, at the moment, you know, you can see they're having to bring in, you know, qualified players, you know, with Scottish grannies, or, you know, it's like the Irish football team of the 1980s, Jack Charlton, finding passports for people down the back of the sofas.
Mike has a name for them.
Yeah, I forget what it is now.
No,
Yeah.
all of that. Grannies and all that. That's fine.
Oh, is it? Oh, fair enough.
No,
Um,
coming to Ireland to play for Ireland. I don't give a fucking hoot where they come from. It's people who don't qualify to play for Ireland. They're the people I have the problem with.
All right, fucking
The
Jesus.
mercenaries.
The mercenary, yeah. All right, Mr. Farage.
The goal.
Anyway, but before we move on, Christopher Goff, I heard he's responsible to try and get the youth setup improved. Kind of like the IRFU has done, but their schools are different in Scotland. How different are the schools in Scotland, Mike? Since you're there, just looking at just reading Christopher Goff's comments there.
Go on the, like the west of Scotland, on Glasgow, etc. It's different in Edinburgh because rugby is that's the heartland of rugby in Scotland, Edinburgh and the borders. Outside of that, it's basically you get the odd club outlying regions like Oban and Inverness and places like that. You'll get rugby teams from there, but they very rarely contribute any players like to the international scene. And
is it a fee paying thing though? Like, is it a fee? As in, the fee paying schools tend to provide more rugby players.
I don't know if they may do in Edinburgh again as I say, but there's not here in Glasgow. I know there's a fee. There's not many fee paying schools here anyway. There's one big one and there's no rugby attached to that.
There's a lot of I was reading an interesting article there a year or two ago, and they were talking about the boarding schools in Scotland and some of the most prestigious schools and even the universities like St. Andrews, and how up to 40% of their students weren't actually Scottish. They were coming from abroad, or they were coming from England.
Yeah,
just to go there. It's like St. Andrews University when Prince William was going there. Jesus, they had thousands and thousands of Americans applying to get in every year. And that's the thing. Then they come over and then they go to school there, but then they feck off and they're finished school. They go back home.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Because the weather's shite.
I was in Edinburgh a few times. It's a beautiful city, I have to say. Anyway,
nice.
Here we go. Joe Lyons, League and AFL in Australia is so far ahead of Union. It's like comparing hockey to GAA in Ireland. There is that much of a gap now. Sad Aussies have gone so far from a once great team. Yeah. Very true, Joe. Yeah. Joe Lyons also says, "We love you, Mike, even if you're a grumpy so-and-so." Right. Okay.
Actually, can we just discuss something quickly to let Mike go off on one? Can I
Go
pull
on.
the pin and let him go?
Go on.
Mike, did you see somebody posted the reason Snyman came to Leinster?
No, I didn't know.
Apparently, the main reason he came to Leinster was because his wife needs to finish her accountancy exams. She's another year to go, so he needed to stay in Ireland.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes. Here we go.
Yeah.
If anyone can answer this,
more of a reaction than that.
No, you would. I know. So was I.
No.
Dara. More McCormick. Can anyone tell me how to get 2 tickets for the New Zealand match on the 8th of November for a surprise for my daughter? Maura, you'd be doing very well to get tickets there.
Have you loads of?
If you're a member of one of the province, if you're a season ticket holder with one of the provinces, you can apply through them. If you're a member of the IRFU Supporters Club, you can apply through them. If you're a member of your local rugby club, well, the applications have actually be gone in at this stage through the local rugby clubs. And then finally, you have Ticket Monster, where tickets will surface. But the problem more is that even though they're not great at the moment, New Zealand will be the massive corporate day out. And Vodafone will probably be hoovering up tickets left, right, and centre. And they'll have marquees up all around the Aviva. So
it's
always the way. Sorry, go on, Richard. Yeah, it's
a lottery, and
yeah. The 2 biggest corporate games will be that and the Argentinian versus Lions game in the Aviva. They'll be the ones that most fans will find it hard to get tickets for, and yet there'll be people going on corporate jollies to it.
Yeah, of course. And Maura, by the way, if you see tickets for sale in our group,
Don't
we have it
touch
with
them.
don't go near them because we have it flagged and we try and stop the scammers. So don't fall for it. As much as you want them, don't fall for the ticket
Don't.
sales in the group. Now we see them, we spot them as soon as we can, we get rid of them, but don't do it in
Yeah.
any group,
Yeah, but
any group, Maura.
Now, what we should ask is,
we
we
can't
should
stand
ask
over them.
Maura, does her daughter have any land? Because Danny Healy Ray / Brosnan, who's a member, he knows plenty of Kerry bachelor rugby playing farmers who are always looking for one with a bit of land.
There you go.
Yeah, road frontage
All right.
preferable.
Yes, road frontage, obviously.
Okay. Sorry, just to end on this, gents, before we move on. Mike Sheedy, always a good contributor. Mike Ben Healy, another Irish player over in Scotland rugby. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, from our
he is.
Mike Sheedy and myself.
There you go. Right, gentlemen.
The
Let me just have a look here what we want to talk about next. Yes, next weekend we have South Africa played the rugby championship stuff and blah 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 and so on. Maura McCormick, no land. Thanks for the info. Hold on, sorry, just put our reply up here. There you go. All right, Maura. Maura, just beware about buying tickets in groups that claim to be ticket groups. A lot of them are scammers, so just don't do it. Okay, gentlemen. Mike Reedy, I'm coming to you first on this. South Africa, we've four heavyweights. Well, yeah, I suppose you can call them a heavyweight, Argentina. We have South Africa versus New Zealand. Argentina are playing Australia. Now, Mike, before I ask you who's going to win, I was looking at this website. It's called Rugby Vision. You probably all know it. They do this percentage win ratio thing and all the sort of fucking shite. Sometimes they get it bang on. Sometimes they're way off. But as you would say, Dara, broken watch and all that sort of stuff.
blind squirrel.
Blind squirrel, all that sort of stuff. So this particular site, Mike, have South Africa versus New Zealand. They have South Africa by 4. And then they have Argentina versus Australia. They have Argentina by 11, Mike. What do you think of those particular predictions?
I think Argentina by 11 is almost a given for me. Australia are absolutely dire. There's no other word I can describe. I could describe them. They're dreadful. Now, prior to seeing the South African lineup, there's no Etzebeth. They have no.
He is fit.
He's fit, all right, but they've made 9 changes. South Africa apparently have made 9 changes.
Snyman, both Snyman and Etzebeth are injured, so they didn't make the squad. It's in Joburg. It's at altitude. It's going to be. I think 4 points is generous to New Zealand. If I'm honest, I can't see anything other than a comfortable win for South Africa.
Have New Zealand dropped that badly?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
England.
And is that I always ask this when a team appears to drop badly: is it the players or the coach, Mike?
No, combination of players. They genuinely do not have the players right now. This is the worst. This is probably the worst state that New Zealand rugby has been in 2 generations or more than that. They haven't even got players coming through. I mean, their 20 side was abysmal for the last 2 years, last 2 or 3, 4 years. I genuinely think they're in bother, and they have no money. The financial state of I mean, they didn't even fill the stadium. They're playing Argentina in Wellington. That's fucking half in a half empty stadium. That's embarrassing. And it has to be worrying for them. By the way, it has to be genuinely worrying. And I look at the New Zealand team now, and you compare it to one 4 years ago, and there's not enough difference in it for them to say this. They always had players. It was a conveyor belt for decades and decades. It's been a conveyor belt, and it certainly isn't any now. So they are concerned. There's no doubt about it. My niece lives in New Zealand. I was talking to her the other night, and she said it's not. The confidence is gone. They are going to playing South Africa with zero confidence.
Do you know actually, Mike, who is he's a member in the group, and we might just get him on next week if he's receptive to it. We have the who's a member of the group. He's the New Zealand ambassador to Ireland.
All right, okay.
And he'd be an interesting thing. And he likes his rugby, obviously, but it'd be interesting to have him on if he's available.
You could go around to the embassy and sit with him and be having Ferrero Rocher, do the podcast from there, do the video from there. The rest
That's really funny.
in,
That's really funny. That's actually not a bad idea.
I'm serious, though. I'm serious.
You get me,
but come here.
Ambassadorial.
No,
you get good wine. You get a bit of New Zealand lamb.
Anyway, I prefer Wicklow lamb. Dara Wesson, those two particular games, this site, as I said, Rugby Vision, South Africa versus New Zealand, South Africa by 4, and they have Argentina beating Australia by 11. What do you think of that?
I'd go out on a limb and I would say Argentina are not the most consistent of teams.
No.
And I think there could be, now having said that, they're playing in Buenos Aires, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I think Australia, they do have some decent players. It's just cohesion or whatever seems to be a massive problem for them. So obviously they don't have the caliber of players they used to have. But yeah, I could see them actually pulling an upset. 4 points. The Saffas to win by 4 points against the Kiwis. I mean, very few. It's very rare you'd win by 4 points against the Kiwis. If the match is that tight, they normally pull something out last ditch. They've got to be hurting. I mean, the one thing about the Kiwis is when they don't perform, the public and the press over there destroy them. They absolutely destroy and slate the team. And go off like Donald Trump getting prosecuted or something. They just go on massive.
Don't mention my Twitter campaign.
Diatribes against the team. So they're going to be hurting. If South Africa are missing a couple of key players, look, we always live in hope they'll get beaten just to take them down a peg. But yeah, on paper, South Africa should do it, but I think the All Blacks could cause an upset. I think it could be the weekend of upsets. I think Australia will do Argentina, and New Zealand will do South Africa.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, no, I can't see New Zealand winning out there. I'll be honest with you. It's at altitude. It's South Africa. To be fair to them, are on a high. Granted, they have a couple of injuries, but I work with a couple of New Zealand lads, and they're not giving New Zealand the hope going out there. It's that bad. As for the other game, Australia might surprise them, but if it's in Buenos Aires, there won't be any more than 3 points in that game, I think, and it's going to be a tight one. I just about shaded Argentina.
But Argentina, Richard, by 11. This website is saying.
No, I wouldn't go by 11. I think it'll be tighter than that, but I still fancy him to win it.
They beat New Zealand by 11 in Wellington.
Yeah, but bear in mind the Argentinian economy is in the absolute shits at the moment since they got their new president. So the lads could be putting a few quid on Australia and Paddy Power, and they could turn the country round. They win 20 grand. That's enough to pay the civil servants for another year. Like,
okay. Right before, geez, I tell you what, time flies when you're having fun. 5 minutes are just over. Just a few comments there, folks. Jared Brennan, going back to the previous or the current topic we're talking about. Seeing that post about Snyman today, and the very next post was a pic of Ross Maloney in Bath strip. So sad.
I rest my case.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, Joe Lyons, Etzebeth is named on the bench.
Oh, he's not.
Okay, yeah, but that's probably Rassi playing mind games. Yeah. He probably won't
Joe
be
Lyons,
on the bench.
Not on the bench.
Lyons, he named all the bench here. Replacements: Marks, Steenkamp, Koch, Etzebeth, Lou Quagga-Smith, Grant Williams, Andre Pollard. All right.
All right.
Joe Lyons, just to finish on this. Moving Pierre Staff to Twat to Lock is a massive gamble as the ABs lose three will run amok. Okay. James Grannon sent a blank message. What's this? Good man, Dara. Okay, I presume Dara, you
I
said
must have
something
made a bad
intelligent.
joke.
You probably did. Before we go on, Jerry Brennan, All Blacks only ever needed to bring one or two players through every year, and there was always a comfort zone between them and then every other team, which allowed them to regenerate. There was no gap now, and there's pressure to bring through untested players, i.e., number of changes at 10 recently. That's a very good
Well,
point.
they don't
Jerry,
have
yes.
a 10. That, I think
They don't have a 10, yes. I think that's the point Jerry is making, or is making. That's okay. Right, folks, it's 4 minutes left. Okay, let's just go through quickly. I want to cover because I want to go on to the women's games. But Dara, Mac Hansen is due to come back after 8 months out due to that horrendous injury he got. I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Munster, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, sorry, Dara. Just going to say, Mac Hansen, he's due back to start. Now, he's not playing any of the preseason friendlies, but he's due back for his, funny enough, Richard, the first game, Connacht's first game is away to Munster. Dara, is it a good idea to leave Mac out of the preseason friendlies?
Look, it depends whether he's fully rehabbed. I mean, they might need the extra month. Or the extra 3-4 weeks that you get at this stage from avoiding the preseason friendlies. I mean, look, don't bring him back before he's ready. The last thing you want is him bringing him back half cocked and he picks up a niggle or something again. So, and are the preseason games away or are they at home? Well, even if they're at home, they're not going to make massive money because the clan stand is gone now. So,
yeah, and James Grennan is having a fucking stroke about that. He's just the clan stand. I can't fucking believe it. It's gone. And Jesus Christ, I laid the founding brick and all that sort of stuff. As James Grennan would go on, this sort of thing. But I think it's a big maybe play him off the bench on one of the preseason friendlies though. Dara would benefit. I don't know. Leaving Mac Hansen out, a player of his quality, leaving him out totally of the preseason friendlies, I think might be a bit of a mistake.
But you've nothing to gain from the preseason friendlies, and you've everything to risk.
Game time, Dara, game time.
But he can get game time when it counts in URC games. I mean, the preseason friendlies, every coach I think looks at preseason friendlies and just prays they don't pick up any injuries. Because they mean nothing. They're nothing burgers. Generally, it's to try and make a few quid. And you're probably still going to sell the same number of tickets whether he's playing or not.
No, but I mean,
I think just for been waiting this long for him to come back, they're not going to mind another few weeks.
No, but I was just saying, Darren, that it. Yeah, okay. No, I take your point, but what my point would be that if a player of Hansen's quality and caliber has been out for 8 months, and your first official game in the URC is away to Munster, would it not make sense just to get him back into the field of things, to give him 20 minutes off the bench in one of the preseason friendlies or something like that, just to get him back in competitive mode? That's all.
I mean, he's 20, 28, is he? I think.
No idea.
I think he's younger.
I think
he might be 26 maybe.
26. So, I mean, young lads like that should be able to hit the ground running. It's not like he's a 36-year-old prop coming back from an ACL or something. I mean, when he's fit, he's probably chomping at the bit to get game time. And he's probably training with the lads in the preseason training and everything. And they're just kind of putting a leash on him until the actual competitions start.
Okay, fair enough.
I tend to agree with him now. Just to give him that extra 4 weeks. I know it's 8 months since he's played, but to give him that 8 months, I think he's that good of a player. He doesn't need warm-up games. especially the way he plays. He's electric. The only way you can describe it. He has that X factor, and that's something you can't coach, and that's something that no matter how long you're laid off for injury, doesn't go away.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Richard.
Mike,
Mike,
on a special diet of chicken burgers as well.
there you go. Mike Reedy, briefly on this because I want to end with the women's games.
I think there's a certain risk, not giving him a little bit of game time, as you say, Peter. I think I agree with what you say. I see the last preseason game. I definitely give him a little, maybe 20 minutes on that, because are you going to start him then in the Munster game, not having played for 8 months, and throw him in at the deep end? And if he breaks down, there's a risk attached to that. If he's not ready, lads, he shouldn't be playing. He shouldn't be starting any game. They'll know. The coaches will know. The doctors will know. You know, it's hard to tell. We couldn't tell looking from the outside in. You know,
not at all. Anyway, there's our old pal James Grennan. Mac won't need game time, Peter. He's that good. He can hit the ground running. I've no doubt, James, about that. I've no doubt about that. Mike Sheedy, before we move on to the women, and we'll end it on that. Some great rugby last weekend. Irish women rugby 14. Some new players should be on Six Nations 2025. Okay, great stuff. Now, gentlemen, we'll end it on this because we're over time as usual. Richard Holland, I'll come to you first. The women's 37 contracted players, Richard, were announced by the IRFU. I was absolutely fucking delighted to see that finally there was this recognition. Now, it's great to see, but now whether the contracted players, the women, need to work 2 jobs to support themselves, or the IRFU going to pay decent wages to them, or what? I don't know. Great to see, but let's see what happens, in the minutiae of all this, Richard.
Yeah, to quote a political phrase from a couple of years ago, what was it? A lot to do and more, a lot done and more to do. I think it's the way we'll put it.
Being a fall election poster,
something like that, yeah. But Look, we have spoken about this before, and the fact that if they're serious about the women's game, they need to put money into it, and this is a start. Whether it's enough, I don't know. I personally think that if they're contracted to the IRFU or their provinces or whatever way it's going to work, that's all they should have to do. That's all they should concentrate on, is playing rugby, is training, is getting in the right frame of mind, is getting fit, and not have to worry about, geez, my car payment is due next week. How will I cover that? You know, there's little shit like that could and should be covered by the IRFU.
I totally agree, Richard. Yeah, Mike. Great to see, but are they going to pay their way?
It's a massive step in the right direction, lads, because they've gone from basically having a team and maybe fucking 5 or 6 other players, like professional or semi-professional. We use professional because they're not getting paid enough. There's none of them. I've been told this that they're not earning enough to make a living currently. Now, unless that's changed, I don't know what the pay packet is or the wage structure is going to be like, but that's certainly. But that 37 players includes the sevens team, I think, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes,
they're kind of. I think are they intermingling the two squads and
yes, yeah, but Baby and Parsons and the go between the two of them.
Yes,
pretty much all of the certainly the Olympic team, like Olympic squad, are in that now anyway. There's most of them are. It's a massive step in the right direction because Irish women's rugby had gone backwards at a drastic rate, and now hopefully this is going to push them on. It can only help. It can only help, lads. And best of luck to them. I really, really hope they get what they deserve.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Richard. Dara, good move.
Definitely a great move.
A first step. But go on.
More to do, I think. Interestingly enough, I was listening to a thing a couple of months ago. Jim Hamilton had one of the English women's rugby players on his podcast, and she revealed that the top players in England on their central contracts get 37 grand sterling. And then some of them don't get paid by their Premiership clubs. I think it was Harlequins didn't pay its female players. They had to survive on what they were getting from the RQ, the 37 grand.
Is that for real? The Harlequins didn't pay the women players?
It was Harlequins, I think, yeah. That they were saying it was definitely one of the Premiership clubs didn't pay its women's team. So, look, the main thing is they've got the contracts now. Contracts can always be negotiated upwards. So I think it's definitely a positive thing, finally bringing proper professionalism to the women's game.
Yep, I totally agree, Dara and Mike and Richard, with what you said. Okay, gentlemen, our last point, because we're way over time. We have next weekend, Saturday, up at the Kingspan. Dara, back to you. We have the women's Interpros. We have Connacht v Ulster for the 3rd and 4th place playoffs. Who do you think is going to take that, Dara?
James Grennan would kill me, but I would say Ulster.
Yeah, I would actually agree. Yeah, he'd probably kill me too, yes. Okay. Mike Reedy, I don't know if you're following this.
I think it's a hard one to call, by the way, to be honest with you. Connacht don't seem to play for a full game in any game, though. That's their problem. Up to half time generally. Because the game they played against Leinster, that's the way it was, and the same last week against Munster. So it's in the Kingspan or in
Kingspan, Ravenhill.
I'd expect Ulster probably to prevail there, but you never know. Good luck. As long as it's a decent game and nobody gets hurt, that's a big thing for me.
Okay, Richard Holland.
Yeah, I think it'll start off as a close game, but Ulster will pull away toward the end and probably win comfortably by 10, 12 points.
Okay, Richard, back to you. The final kicking off at 4:15 in Ravenhill. A repeat of last year's final, I believe. Sorry, not that I believe, I know. Munster v Leinster, Richard. The women's Interpro final, Munster v Leinster.
I'm going to go with Munster on that one. That's what my heart is telling me, so that's what I'll go with.
Well, of course you would, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ, you're not going to fucking say anything else here. Mike Reedy, surprise, you're going to say Munster as well, aren't you?
I don't know. I think it'll be a tight game, I'll tell you that. The game they played at in Cork a couple of weeks ago was close. I know Munster won it in the end. It's a hard one to call again, but I don't know. It's a hard one, but
you'll get splinters in your arse. Get off that fence.
Go on, Mike. Will you just give us a fucking result, will you?
Go for Munster.
Oh, what a surprise! Dara Weston, go on.
Leinster, of course.
Right, okay. All right.
You're
okay.
Thank you. You're not allowed, Peter.
No, I'm saying nothing. Joe Lyons, breaking news: shock. Luis Rees-Zammit twist as NFL team. I couldn't give a fuck, Joe. Jesus Christ.
Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're owned by your man who owns Fulham.
Yeah, I couldn't give a flying fuck. I don't care. We're way over time. I don't care. It's American football. It's a similar shaped ball,
there's a reason he's after buying your man, because as I say, he owns Fulham. He brings his team over to the UK to play over there. So that's a good thing, because it'll bring Welsh fans up to watch the game.
Welsh fans in London, Jesus.
Sorry, we bored you to tears there, Peter.
Yeah, ever so slightly. Yeah.
Sorry about
that. That's quite all right. Anyway, okay, folks, we're way over time as usual. All that's left for me to do is to thank the gentleman who joined me here this evening, although Claire was meant to join us, but she couldn't make it. My thanks to Richard Holland. My thanks to Mike Reedy. My thanks to Dara Weston, and to all of you who commented and viewed this show tonight. We do it for you. It's our love of the game, and we like to project it back onto you. So thank you all for joining in, contributing, chatting, giving us opinion and all that. We will see you all next week, and thank you very much. Good luck, folks, and
good luck,
take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a good evening.
Night.
Bye.
Good. Bye.